Hey Stallion,
What's up, Panda?
what's your favorite children's game?
I don't have one.
You don't have one? Would you like
No.
to know mine?
Sure.
My favorite children's game is Patty Cakes,
Oh, I hate
which
you.
is which is relevant because we have Patty Cakes Gaming here with us. I'm so sorry. That was so bad.
I
Well,
honestly,
Fun.
yeah, I don't know what I was
welcome to
expecting, but it wasn't that.
welcome to episode 8 of the RNGeez podcast. We have Patty Cakes Gaming here. Say
Hey, what's
hi.
up, guys? How's it going?
I'm baffled.
Say say a little about yourself.
Sure. So I stream on Twitch and I also do YouTube videos. Mostly play Destiny these days, Destiny 2 on PC. I don't, do you want me to go give a little like background, or I don't know where you want to take this? I can
Yeah,
go
man, for
however
sure.
you want.
sure,
Uh,
what
Give
got you into
us,
Destiny?
yeah.
yeah. So like many other Destiny players, I played Halo back in the day. Probably some of my fondest gaming memories were setting up 16-man LAN parties in Halo in my parents' basement, back
Oh
in
my.
the Halo 1 days. That was super fun. But then along with Halo, I of course played Battlefields and all the different FPS games on console, and then I got pretty serious with Counter-Strike on PC as well. So I kind of got to a pretty high level in that game. My team was kind of in the arena of maybe going pro one day, but then I kind of that was right around when I was about to go to college, so I decided to kind of focus on school instead. And years later, I'm kind of still back in gaming and enjoying it. So just having fun with Destiny, trying to help other people learn about PvP and have a good time doing it.
Nice. Yeah, so your channel and your streams are more oriented towards PvP.
Yeah, I mean, I like to do everything in the game. Usually, we go for like world's first attempts and stuff like that. And I've done all the raids, and I like doing everything in the game. But
Mm-hmm.
generally speaking, I'm very PvP focused, and we like to try to help people with with competitive and trials back when that was a thing. Maybe someday soon. We'll see.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah, but I definitely do prefer the PvP side of Destiny is in terms of like a day-to-day gameplay thing.
Okay. So here's a PvP question for you. What is your favorite class and why is it a Titan?
Excuse you, why is it Hunter?
Oh, he got me. Well, my favorite class is definitely not a Titan.
Oh no.
I'm a very much a Hunter fanboy. I do,
Oh,
although
yeah.
I will tell you that so when I first started Destiny 1 on Xbox, my first character was a Hunter, and I played Hunter for about 10 levels, and I was trying out the PvP, and I really hadn't been doing a whole lot of gaming for the couple of years before that. I was just kind of getting back into it. So I played PvP on my Hunter, and this Titan just came smashing me with the Fists of Havoc smash, and I was like so aggravated because I kept seeing this one guy in my lobby get like 4 or 5 kills with a super. So I decided to make a Titan. I played that for about, I don't know, another 10 levels. So I had 2 level 10 characters, and then some guy in my lobby started getting the arc, or was it Blade Dancer back then, and he was just destroying everyone with like the shotgun blink thing and running around with the super. So then I decided to go back to my Hunter, and I pretty much have mained Hunter ever since.
Okay.
So I was talking to one of my friends about this the other day, and I realized that Hunters really haven't been, like, they haven't been the top of the meta in D2. But in D1, there was nothing better than a Blade Dancer.
Oh
Well,
yeah, I mean Blade Dancer
Uh,
was pretty strong back in the day.
Warmind would like to have a word with you because that was nothing but worm husk hunters.
right, but that was more to do with the exotic than it was the subclass.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
I think the subclass was always good, but you're right. The Wormhusk definitely made it pretty popular. I think also it depends on what platform you're playing on, because like so for example, I've played very little on console since I switched to PC for Destiny 2, but my friends who do play a console, and I've played it just a little bit on it. Basically, tell me that hunters are a lot stronger on console because they can jump over your head and you just can't turn around fast enough. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
like on mouse and keyboard, you can turn basically instantly. So that advantage kind of isn't as powerful. And on PC, Titans feel oppressively strong. Like it's pretty frustrating, honestly. But I
See, but
understand that on console, it's not quite the same. So they have to kind of balance, for somewhere in between.
I have to like with the whole hunters being able to jump over your head thing. I have to disagree with that because I mean they can, and it is a lot more sporadic than a Titan or Warlock jump. But the thing is, if you're running at a hunter and they jump over your head, they also have to turn around to shoot you. Like both of you have to turn.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
it's like I don't know. It's not too big a deal. I don't have too much trouble keeping track of hunters. Honestly, the
You,
characters that give me the biggest issue are Titans, but almost exclusively when they're in their super and they're just shoulder
I was
charging
gonna
left and
say
right to try and end
bottom
me.
tree striker, perhaps.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, that plus like the one-eyed mask thing on PC is pretty frustrating. I feel like that is maybe the most unbalanced thing right now. But I don't know. I think overall the Crucible's in a fairly good state, but there's just a few outliers like that if we could get those brought into line with the rest of the
Yeah.
subclasses, we'd be in a pretty good spot.
See, I'm not typically one of the people that's just like, oh, everyone hates bottom tree striker. Guess I better hate bottom tree striker. And so I, back when it first got buffed, I decided to use it. I used Titan for like a day, and I almost got a seventh column with it. I missed my seventh column by about a second, and I was just like, okay, so maybe this super's a little bit dumb.
Yeah, it just lasts so long, and then there's that health regen that it's like
Yeah.
if you almost kill one, he gets his health right back, and it just it's so hard to kill them too. They're so fast and so tanky. It's like I feel like you have to throw a nuke at them to to shut them down. It's crazy.
Yeah, but the thing is, I feel like whenever I try and do it, I get shut down immediately because for whatever reason, my blueberries have no interest in fighting supers, but the enemy team are just like, come and get us. So I start running toward them. I get team fired, and I can't get a single kill.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate. But anyway, we'll come back to Destiny PvP, I promise. But we're gonna you as a person, our guest. um, so favorite class hunter.
Yeah, definitely. I would say Hunter. I've played.
Good.
I wish I knew how many hours on each, but definitely Hunter is like more time than the other two combined.
I think you can
Times a
check.
lot.
there is a command to check that.
Ooh,
If
what
you
is
were, if you have Charlemagne on your server, it is !Destiny space C time. C time is one word, and it will show you your breakdown by character and the time that you've spent on them.
okay? Is Destiny C time is one word you said?
Destiny space and then C time is
Oh,
one
okay.
word. I guess we're all gonna be doing this just to figure out
was-
our.
yeah,
I am
I was
now.
trying it.
All right, great.
All right. So I have 6 days and 5
Oh
hours
my
spent on my hunter.
panda.
5 days and 15 hours spent on my warlock, and 1 day, 1 hour, 1 day, 7 hours on my titan.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to looking at this. All right, let's go. Let's go from the least to the most. So my warlock has 1 day and 3 hours. My titan has 1 day and 13 hours. My hunter has 7 days and 16 hours.
Oh, that's gross.
Oh man, that
Filthy
doesn't
little
look like it's
tiny
working for me
babies.
on the BNet. I might have to mess around with it later. I have to register it or something. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's funny. I'm interested to find out. I'll have to try this afterwards.
yeah. We can help you out after because Panda's
Yeah.
a giant nerd. He'll know.
That's cool. I
So
haven't. I use Charlemagne all the time, but I have not tried that particular one.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of Destiny commands that are really nice for that. And what's funny is that command specifically is just for PvP.
Oh, really?
Wait,
Okay.
what?
Yeah, that's
Oh, that's so
just
much
for PvP.
worse. Well, that explains it.
Yep. Yep.
You know the messed up thing is I think a solid like 6 of those hours were on my warlock were yesterday. Like
Probably.
that's not cool. Oh, whatever.
Oh,
Anyway,
how does the platform command work on that? I see like I was looking at the input and it tells you to put in platform. Do you just type like Xbox or PC or do you know how that works?
Um, for what specifically?
For the C time thing. It's not a big deal. I'm a nerd. I'm trying to figure it out.
Oh, so if you have multiple platforms like registered to your same account, you'd have to choose
Yeah.
one.
Okay. That I think that's what's giving mine trouble. Maybe it's like pulling up multiple ones.
Yeah, and if you aren't registered, then it won't pull a platform or it won't pull a profile. But we can figure
I
that
see.
stuff out
Yeah.
later.
We'll get it going later. No worries.
We'll get it going later. Still a lot of time spent on someone's hunter.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, do you have a specific subclass that you like a lot?
I do mix around a lot. I would say probably in the past few months I've played Spectral the most. Mostly because I like to snipe a lot, so I get those crouch headshots and get
Mm-hmm.
the cheesy wall hacks. So I do that a
Yeah.
lot. Lately though, I've actually been really digging the bottom tree Arc Strider. That's probably my current favorite to play. And then I love Golden Gun, but it's just so frustrating getting shut down with no real damage resistance when everything else is so tanky. So I would play it
Yeah.
more, I think, if I was a little bit tankier or everything else was less tanky.
yeah. See, this is like I main bottom tree Goldie, almost exclusively actually. I play around with some other stuff in PvP, but if stuff's going bad for me, I'll just always go back to bottom tree Golden Gun.
Oh,
And
yeah.
something I realized is that the only reason that Golden Gun doesn't have damage resistance is because back in D1, it was the like only ranged roaming super back in year 1
Mhm.
D1. So they couldn't give it damage resistance. But now
Uh-huh.
that is no longer the case and they're just not giving damage resistance.
I know, it's crazy. It really, really
Because
would
there's
benefit
nothing
from
more
that.
frustrating than popping your super, not finishing the animation, and getting sniped out of it. Granted, I probably shouldn't have been popping my super in the middle of the air approaching 4. But you know what? It's not my fault that I had the
Well,
sack to go for the balls play.
well,
Alright?
it's tough too because you have such a limited time while the Goldie's activated. So it's like if you don't, you either pop it passively in the back and then you run out of time, or you pop it really aggressively and then you get shut down. It's like there's
Yeah.
there's
See,
like a
because
sweet spot where you have to pop it, and it's really tough to predict sometimes when that's gonna be.
yeah, and on certain maps, it's almost impossible without team callouts to tell where the entire enemy is. Like for example, Midtown, that entire back lane where everyone loves to sit and snipe and get killed all the time. If I'm running toward kind of that little platform where the heavy spawns on whatever game mode, I want to say possibly both, up on that ledge.
All of them?
Anyway,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. If I pop my golden gun and then jump up there, there's a chance that I'm going to encounter one enemy. There's also a chance that I'm going to encounter the entire enemy team crouching behind that trailer, and there's really no way to tell until it's too late.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There are some maps where I'm just like scared to pop my super the whole time, which is a real bummer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think in your latest video you were talking about scrims.
Yeah, that's something so I played a lot of like scrims, or most people referred to them as sweats back in D1. I got a little
Mm-hmm.
bit into like the tournament scene and stuff like that. And I kind of got away from it until recently in D2. And it's been really fun. I've been playing a lot with my friends, and there's a bunch of different Discord servers with kind of people looking for that type of private match. So it's been super fun. It's like it's a way. I don't know about you guys. I'm super annoyed with like Lord of Wolves and One Eyed Mask,
Yeah.
and a lot of the things are just feel so unfair in the current sandbox. So I'm always like into the primary gun skill and using like special weapons that are reasonable, like a normal shotgun, not a Lord of Wolves shotgun. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really fun in the private matches. Like you can take away all that stuff that's super annoying, and then you're just basically left with like the bare bones Destiny gunplay, which I mean, that's the thing that's always kept me with Destiny is like the guns play feels just so good. And so I think that's my favorite part of the game. And it's really fun to be able to just focus on, movement, positioning, teamwork, and practicing your actual aim with, primaries and snipers and shotguns and stuff like that.
Yeah. So Stallion and I have started, and it's keyword there is started, a very small Scrim server for PS4, because we both play there. And we're trying to schedule, pretty much anything of like 2v2s, 3v3s, stuff like that, because we both enjoy the competitive aspect of Destiny without all the cheese.
Without going into the competitive playlist because it's garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. That's one of the things I do a lot on my stream when I'm playing is trying to help people with competitive on PC, and I really do enjoy it. But I have to admit that this season's been a trying thing because just the amount of like Lord of Wolves and stuff out there right now is crazy. And it becomes this like warfare where if they start using Lord of Wolves, you pretty much have to use it to counter it because it's like there's just no real counter other than also using it. So it gets pretty frustrating. So that's I don't know. I think that the scrims are such a great alternative to that, and it's really cool you guys are starting it up. I think a lot of people think that like scrims and private matches and stuff are only for like the best players and streamers and stuff like that, but it's really fun like at any level. I think the key is just making sure that your teams are fairly balanced so that
Hmm.
you don't feel like one team's like way stronger than the other because then of course it's not fun. But it's the same, I was talking to somebody on Reddit the other day about it. It's like, imagine in competitive, your team's like, averaging around 1,000 glory and you're playing all people who are unbroken 5,500s. Like, it's not going to be fun there either. It's, it's all about getting, balanced teams so that you have an equal chance of winning as the other team.
Yeah. And that's kind of the fun part about it is facing people at your skill level or around there where it could go either way pretty much the entire match. And that's just kind of the fun part about competition.
Yeah,
However, it is
absolutely.
sometimes very, very fun to play against someone significantly better than yourself and get absolutely demolished just to try and learn. Because,
I, yeah.
much
Do you
like
guys?
yourself, I used to do sweats back in D1, and I ended up facing off against True Vanguard once. Didn't go well.
Yeah,
Did
some of those
not
top
go well.
players are pretty nuts. I had do you guys know the streamer Fox? He's a really awesome dude, but I was playing in a 2v1 with clanmate of mine against him, and he's so fast with the snipes, like you just can't really miss.
Right.
He's just, he'll get punished, and it's pretty funny playing against people with that level of aim. It's
Yeah,
very punishing, but it's really fun though too. I love
for
playing
sure.
against
Yeah.
people of different levels.
I
And the best
mean,
thing about
like I would say some of my best experiences in comp this season were when me and Panna were going for Evoker. We went for it first weekend, which meant everyone was in comp.
hmm
And some of the best games were when we were coming up against like just better players, but they weren't using cheese. They were just good. They were just really
Hmm.
good players, better than us. And it
Yep.
was like, great, let's face off against these guys all of the time because it was still kind of a toss up.
yeah. And there were some games where we won by the skin of our ass. It was just the tiniest like okay, we have to cap this point within the next 2 seconds and we win.
Yeah,
Yeah. Those are the really fun
Um,
matches. I also like to play comp at the very beginning of the season usually, and the first day on PC is brutal. It's like the best players all playing each other. It's almost like scrims basically, but it's just so funny because after your first few games usually are pretty easy wins, and then all of a sudden you get to like the point where like the top teams have all sort of like beaten a lot of the lower level teams, and so they're all just duking it out against each other. That's
yeah,
pretty funny.
yeah. And the other thing with scrims is it's so much like low pressure. Like in comp, you're trying to get to 2100, you're trying to get the mountaintop quest or recluse or
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
lunas,
there's a
right? You
goal.
have a goal. Whereas in scrims, you're just like, hey, we're gonna have fun. And even if they are leagues and like head and shoulders above you, it's still like, this is fun. I am
Yeah.
doing this for fun, not for a reward. So it makes it kind of a better
Yeah,
atmosphere.
I totally agree with that. And I think that's what makes it so enjoyable is like number one, you're just playing for fun. There's no rewards that you're going for. But number two, it's like because of that, you're able to focus on improving as a player because you don't care about the outcome. You just care about, having a good time and seeing
Yeah,
yourself
definitely.
improve. So it's a great way to play.
And
Hmm.
I've said this a few times to a lot of people, and I'm gonna say it again. In my opinion, 2v2 is the most fun, but I hate doubles.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, doubles are interesting. It's actually really cool to when if you try like 2v2 and then 3v3 and 4v4, each of them feels so incredibly different from each
yeah,
other.
They
It's like it's
are.
amazing just those two extra players on the field, how much the game changes.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, because in like a 2v2, the kind of mindset going in is like, okay, if we can get one pick, then we can collapse on that last guy, and then it kind of resets the encounter, I guess. But in something like a 4v4, it's like, okay, if we get one pick, they can still win because 3 versus 4 is still more than enough. Like they just need to pick one guy, and then we're on an even playing field, and we're back where we began. So it's like there's a lot more going into it than that, than
Yeah,
in like a two v
totally.
two.
I think my sweet spot right now is the 3v3s. I really like those. I wish that well, I hope that when they bring trials back, they do go with the 3v3 format because I just think that for some reason Destiny just feels really good 3v3. It's like it's enough people that you feel like there's a team factor. It's not just like a 2v2 where it's like, if you die, your teammates in a 2v1 all of a sudden. But like, I don't know, when you start getting into like 4v4 or 6v6, it's just like there's so many bodies on the field. It's just a lot
Yeah,
to
it's just
deal
a
with.
little bit too much.
Hmm.
I agree. I've said since day one, when we played the Destiny 2 beta way back, I was like, okay, this is fine, but this needs to be its own game mode. Like I don't think the rule should be set at 4v4 for Destiny because it doesn't fit. Because going into like quick play as 6v6, you kind of just expect it to be just a big old clusterfuck.
Yeah, yeah,
You kind of sign
totally.
up for that when it comes to quick play. When it comes to competitive, it's like this should be small teams working together, doing what they can to, you know, win.
Hmm.
But like I think that one extra person is just a little bit too hectic. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah, you're totally right. I'd love to like talk to some of the Bungie devs to see like, the guys who are basically choosing to make it 4v4 for competitive.
yeah,
Like, I'd love to hear their like perspective on why they decided to go with that because I think it's a really interesting choice, and it would be cool to like get a little bit of their feedback on like why they decided to go that way and their thought process of choosing it.
yeah.
Hmm.
And the thing is, like, if they do bring back trials, which they better do a good job, otherwise everyone's gonna be real angry, and this is gonna become very toxic for a while. I really do hope it is 3v3 because I think that's kind of it's kind of a good balance of let's put in air quotes like end game PvP because you have Iron Banner, which is essentially sweaty quick play. And then there'd be the comp playlist, which is 4v4, and then you'd have the 3v3 trials. So there'd be something for everyone depending on how they want to play to get rewards. And I think that
Yeah,
would be dope.
that makes a lot of sense. I think that I'm a little worried that they've delayed launching it again for so long that the expectations are getting pretty large. And so like
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope that they can deliver something that people are happy with. I mean, for me personally, I just want straight up elimination 3v3 with some decent rewards. I don't need anything fancy. I don't really care so much about like the space that you go to at the end. Like of course that stuff's cool, but like for me especially for having stuff to like stream and play with friends, like I just want a really fun game mode. And to me it's like elimination with the current sandbox well, hopefully with tuning down a couple things that are way out of line, then that would be
Mm-hmm.
great. I'd be
Looking at
totally
use
happy with that.
tracker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So
some of my favorite memories from D1 PvP were from Trials. I would really love to see Elimination make its triumphant return as Trials of something. Hopefully not Trials of the Nine, because I don't want to deal with the Emissary anymore, but, Trials of the something.
Yeah. Well, I have a question
Trials
for
of
you guys.
Brother Vance.
What do you think of the countdown mode?
I
Uh,
think I
it kind of
like the
depends on the
idea of
map.
countdown.
For me, it
I
depends
like
on the
the
map.
idea of
Like,
countdown.
yeah, I like the game mode as an idea, but it doesn't work so well on a lot of the D2 maps currently. Like most of them are unbalanced, so it's entirely weighted in whatever team's favor, depending on what map it is, and that's just frustrating.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been playing Counter-Strike for like 20 years almost now, like pretty much since the game came out. So like
Mm-hmm.
I'm very familiar with the whole two bomb site, like plant and defuse type scenario. It's interesting in Destiny, like it plays so differently than those types of games. And I think maybe a big part of it is that they have the ability to res your teammates. So it kind of like punishes certain things. So for example, like if I go to one site and I get a pick, I you basically have to babysit that orb
Yeah,
because you can't just leave them. Whereas like a game like Counter Strike, you can go get a pick, and then your team's in like a 5v4, for example. That changes the dynamic of the whole rest of the round. Whereas in Destiny, it's like you can't just go get a pick. You have to, if you get that kill, then it totally like determines where you have to play the rest of the round, because if you just leave that orb, it's a free res, and then they're right back to 4v4.
yeah. Not just that, but I think like it's kind of harder to push certain engagements. Like for example, I mean, the only game I can think of that I did anything like that would be like Call of Duty Search and Destroy.
Hmm.
If I got one guy weak and I knew there was a second guy back there, I would be confident taking on both of them because it's really just a 1v1 and then putting a couple bullets into the guy that I already got weak. He's no real threat to me. He just kind of exists there as a target. But in
Yeah, that makes
Destiny,
sense.
like if I body shot someone with a sniper because I missed my headshot, and it's like I can't push that because I know there's two back there, and I know that I just hit a warlock, so he has a healing well. So now they've both got over shields. They're both going to be sat there waiting for me, and there's nothing I can do about it. And even if I do get a pick, if there's a Titan there, he puts up a barricade, and he gets a free res, and I can't do anything about it. So
Yeah,
there's
totally.
protective abilities in the game as well, which is
Yeah.
kind of
I
a whole
think
other dynamic.
I I think the other thing that makes it pretty frustrating is that it's so super dependent. Like, at least at high level comp, when you're close to 4 or 5 thousand, pretty much everyone's running 5 super mods, and a lot of the games come down to just which team use their supers better. And I just don't think that that's a very fun way to like determine a game like that. Like, I would love to see a version of it where there's just no supers and it plays out just like with pure guns. I think that
Yeah.
that would be really interesting.
Yeah, I've kind of wanted something like that for a while, just to see how good I am, I guess, because it's hard to go into like quick play or comp and be like, yeah, I'm a good player when I got 7 of my 10 kills, in a countdown with my super.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe I'm not a good player. I don't
it,
know.
it's funny because when D2 launched, like a big criticism was that they did slow down the supers so much, and it was like you'd only get like 1 or 2 supers a game in quick play.
Yeah,
And then like I just feel like the pendulum has swung entirely the other way now, and now it's like with 5 super mods, with all these orbs, all these like super regen exotics and stuff like that. People are just in quick play. It feels like you're just fighting a super constantly, and then there's no real counterplay to them since you can't snipe them, you can't shotgun melee them. It's like you basically
yeah,
have to have multiple people team shotting them to take them down, and especially things like Dawnblade to just fly up in the heavens and
right.
rain
Yeah.
swords of
Yeah.
death down at you that track you around walls. It's like it feels so helpless sometimes.
I
But
think
when you
super
do get
mods were
those
probably a
shutdowns,
mistake. Sorry, Panda, go ahead.
uh, no, I've had a couple moments where I have like shut down a couple spectral blades like as soon as I pop it, or um, a Nova Warp pre-nerf, and it's so satisfying
Yeah,
having those moments
totally.
where
Yeah,
you like
definitely.
someone's about to go on a tear on your team, and you're like, nope, I'm gonna deny you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with Shadowkeep, I know that they're gonna be adjusting super damage resistance, so I'm hoping that we'll have more ways to shut down supers to have those no moments.
Mm-hmm. I
Gold,
feel like they
golden,
had it.
golden gun buff when?
Yeah, seriously. I feel like back in D1 was really the sweet spot of that mechanic where like a mid-range damage sniper, like a LDR for example, could headshot pretty much any roaming super, and then like a shotgun melee with like a Matador plus a melee would take down pretty much any roaming super. Like I think that's like the sweet spot where you feel like it's fair. Like if I'm gonna take out my beloved for example and headshot a super, it feels like that should shut down any roaming super at least.
Right.
But
I mean,
at
technically it
least the high
can, but
end.
like, waiting for box breathing to proc just so you can one shot a super is such a pain.
Yeah, totally.
Because the thing
It's a
is, and then like
yeah.
if it's something like a spectral blades, and you know they're just swinging left and right, left and right, left and right, trying to like edge their way towards you, then if you miss that shot, you have to wait for box breathing again.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're probably dead. Like, let's be
Well,
real.
totally. And in the higher level games too, no one's sitting around for a second and a half waiting for that thing to it's just,
Yeah, no,
the
exactly.
game moves so fast. It's like
Yeah, you just take
it's
a
just
shot,
not
switch to your
happening.
primary, and hope for the best.
Yeah, it's like that's one of the reasons. Like, a lot of people are into like the no distractions and box breathing on Beloved. And I think it's really a cool combo. But it's like in reality, like in the higher level games, you can't afford to stay ADS that long because the game just moves so quickly and people
Yeah.
are constantly rotating around. It's like if you're off of your radar for a full 2 seconds or whatever, like you're potentially in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Um, but the other thing is you play on PC and like with both the FOV, um, and just the way that mouse and keyboard works, it plays so much different than console.
Yeah, it is definitely way faster. Actually, so I went to Guardian Con about was like 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and
Mm-hmm.
they had these. I don't know if you guys saw pictures of it, but they had these stations set up where there's this huge line where you could come in and play 6v6, and you get like a chance for like an emblem, or you get an emblem code for playing and stuff like that. But they had them on PCs, but everyone was on controller on PC, and then I didn't even realize it was on PC at first, and so I didn't like adjust like the FOV and stuff like that. But like it feels so incredibly different, even just playing controller on PC versus mouse and keyboard. Like I hadn't really done that for a long time, so I can definitely
Hmm.
see how different the game feels between the different input devices, and especially if you're down to like 30 FPS and a locked FOV that's a little bit smaller, it just feels completely different.
And it's definitely the FOV that makes a huge difference because I think I was watching a Ceridius video. I don't know if you guys know
Yeah.
Ceridius.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's ridiculous.
Um, and he timed it running from one point to another point on Endless Vale, and it was 5 seconds both ways, right? And he ran it there with max FOV, and then he ran it there with like the smallest FOV, and it felt like such a long 5 seconds
Right. Yeah.
going back. And I'm like, nothing changed. The time was exactly the same, but it just felt
Hmm.
so much slower. So
I
the
think
FOV
that's
is such a huge thing.
that's something I remember seeing. Who was it? I believe it was a gigs video where something was happening, and someone in his chat was like, "How do you move so fast?" He was like, "I'm not moving fast. I just have a higher FOV. I'm not moving any faster than anybody else in the lobby, but you can only see it from my perspective, so it seems quick." And then he proceeded to pop Dawnblade and move fast. Uh,
Yeah.
and it was just like, this is moving fast. And I was just like, wow. I know it's the same. And I know because I do it on console I used to when I would play Dawnblade. But I just feel so sluggish. And like, that's one of the
Hmm.
reasons I like watching PC streamers is because I get to kind of peer into another world and be like, one day.
The game does definitely feel so much faster in max FOV, and then also, I mean, you're talking about like I tend to have 120 to 150 frames, FPS, so it's like it
Yeah,
feels so much different than if you're locked at 30.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I really don't like to fall into the place of like a backseat developer, but at the same time, there is no reason to cap games at 30 FPS on the current generation of consoles. Give us at least 60. Come on.
Yeah,
If you're not gonna give us 60, give us an FOV slider, please.
Yes. Either one. I would take either one. I don't care at this point. Give me one of them.
Yeah.
Because the problem is like, it. Switching from Destiny 2 to Borderlands 2, I should not feel like going to Borderlands is a graphical upgrade. But it
Yeah.
is, because it's 60 FPS and I have an FOV slider.
yeah, I think part of the problem I have is that like, so probably they could pull it off in PvP when there's less going on, but like in PvP for the raids, for example, like the last boss on Scourge, like even on PC, like my PC frame rate just tanks on that boss. It's like all the different things going on in the I guess it's just not like very well optimized. Like I noticed a huge dip, and I can't even imagine on console if you move that fight to both like a high FOV and try to hit 60 frames. Like I think it would just really struggle to get even 30 at like a super wide FOV. So it would be interesting to see. My guess is that the PvE stuff is what really limits what they can do, and they don't want to have a situation where it's like 30 frames in this and 60 frames in some other mode. Like they probably want to just keep it the same across the whole game.
See,
Yeah,
like the thing is, I don't even want like a crazy wide FOV. I just want a little bit more because I feel so claustrophobic. Like if we could just bump it up to like, I don't know, 85. That'd be nice. 85 sounds good.
What's the default on console? I'm not even sure.
72.
Oh my
72.
God. I
Yeah.
play literally 105 on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every game that I have an FOV slider, it goes straight up to 110, and that's where I sit on every single game. So every game that I play other than Destiny, everything feels so nice, man. I'm so relaxed all the time. I'm just like, yeah, this is good. And then I go back to Destiny, and all of a sudden I feel like I'm in a tiny little box, and it's a lot.
Well, yeah. One thing that you were saying with the PvE stuff, when Eater of Worlds was end game content, right? Second season Curse of Osiris, there was a kind of glitch where you could infinite tether, and you'd have like, one tether, 5 golden guns, and you could melt the boss. But you would have 2 frames at some points, and it was killer.
Oh,
Uh,
that's awful.
And I'm like, this is end game, guys. This is what we do.
Yeah, this is the end game.
I hope no one's streaming because you can't see anything.
Yeah. I visited my parents one time and played Destiny on like my old PC that I still had at their house, and it was funny because I didn't have a graphics card, so I had to run it on like integrated graphics in the motherboard, and my frames was like I had to like drop the resolution down to like the lowest it could possibly go, and even at that I was getting about like 5 frames per second. It was like so funny. It was like a completely different game. You couldn't. I took some screenshots to send to friends. Like you couldn't even tell like what map it was. It was just like it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I imagine it
Um,
would. I would get a similar feeling if I were to go back and play Destiny 1 on my Xbox 360.
Oh, yep. What gun is this? I can't tell. It's 2 pixels big.
I feel like I'd be able to tell, but oof, not easily, because there were a lot of shared gun models in that game.
Yes, yes, there were.
It would have been. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that one of these days. I still have my 360 somewhere.
So, Patty Cakes, here's a question for you. With Iron Banner next week, what is your loadout going into Iron Banner?
Oh dear. I have like this weird love-hate relationship with Iron Banner since it came out in D1. Um, I
That's fair.
mean, optimistically, I'll probably try to run like my current like loadout that I use in scrims and sweats and stuff just to practice like which would be either like Thorn or Austringer or Spare Rations are like my 3 favorite hand cannons right now. Well, the last word's my favorite hand cannon, but since it's banned in the newest scrim rules, I've been trying to not use it as much just to get comfortable in other things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd probably use one of the 3 of those, and then either shotgun or sniper. Beloved's been my go-to sniper lately, and then I have a pretty good mind benders with quick draw and pretty solid range on my mind benders. So I use those, and then for heavy, either one of the machine guns. I mean, I still probably go for hammerhead for legendary, and then for exotics, I've been kind of like I've been messing around with truth a lot lately. It's pretty fun. It's pretty disappointing every once in a while. Like when you hit people and they're super and it does like a third of their health, it's like, oh man.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's still kind of fun to like get the crazy tracking once in a while. So I still like to do it. I guess so. Like realistically, we'll see. I mean, it might end up being a Lord of Wolves fest again. So I hope not. I don't really enjoy using that gun, but we'll see. I'm gonna try to stay strong and avoid it.
Yeah.
I decided to
Um,
equip Lord of Wolves yesterday on stream, and my chat was really, 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 really angry at me.
Yeah.
As soon as I equipped it, I felt like I immediately had to justify it, and it was tough because most of my viewers are PC players. So, and Lord of Wolves is very different on PC versus console. And I know that
Mm.
every YouTuber and their grandmother has put out a video being like, it's just as powerful on both. But no, it isn't. Like, and so like I equipped it, and they were all like, criminal. Like, no, listen to me. And they're like, no, criminal. Like, listen, no, it's okay, because it's different. I'm like, yeah, whatever,
Yeah.
scumbag. I'm like, oh, come on, man. This isn't fair.
My general rule for when I'm like playing and streaming is that like, especially when I'm doing comp help, I will not put it on. I definitely won't put it on at the beginning of the game, and then I'll only put it on if the other team is like oppressively using it. Like, you know, two, three, or four of them are using it, and it's like, especially something like control where we just cannot get into the game because they're, you know, bullying us with it. Then I'll put it on and counter it. But it's like
Yeah.
I try to avoid it. It's just I don't enjoy using it. I think it's lame. It's so much more fun for me to use other weapons. But at a certain point, if four of them are using it, it's like you kind of have to, you know, counter it at some level.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is like, on PC, I know it can get very, very bad like that, but on console, it can't do anything that a regular shotgun can't do slightly better because a regular shotgun doesn't have a TTK, but Lord of Wolves does because of the nature of the gun. So it's like it has a little bit of extra range, but in terms of optimal kill range and situations you're actually gonna find yourself in PvP, on console at the very least, it doesn't do anything better than any other shotgun, and it is, in my opinion, worse than slug shotguns.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
because
on
they
PC.
occupy they occupy roughly the same range. But I mean, first of all, my Gnoros has opening shot, so that's just a free kill every time someone is anywhere near me. Um, and like, there's just a lot more utility to it, and having to waste 10 of like, because realistically, it's you don't have 30 ammo. You have 3 shots if you're using release wolves. You have 3 shots before you have to reload, and you have to collect ammo. But my Gnoras holds 6, and that's enough. As long as I'm hitting my shots, it's not a problem.
What
And
do
like I
you have
said,
on Ganoras? Are you rocking opening shot?
yeah. So my Gnora actually, I pulled up Dim because I wanted to go look at my retold because I'd mentioned it briefly in your stream yesterday, but I couldn't remember for the life of me what exactly was on it. So my Gnoras is fluted barrel, accurized rounds, threat detect, opening shot.
Nice.
Threat detect
Seems
could be
like
better.
opening shots like the key there. It's like,
Oh yeah, no, it definitely is.
have you seen the videos? I forget who all, I think maybe Fallout had a video. I forget who all made different ones about it, but like the opening shot perk seems like it adds like you know about 1 to 2 solid meters of range, and it's basically seems like it's range capped. Otherwise, like if you have max range on it, it doesn't seem like it's that much more range than like a kind of mediocre range roll.
Yeah,
I
so
think that was Astacross.
Oh, was it Aztec? Okay, yeah, maybe it was him. I just remember seeing a video about that when the last Iron Banner rolled around.
Um, but the thing with opening shot and Mercules actually worked for Bungie for a little while, and I had a conversation with him about it, and he said opening shot is basically like hidden hand on steroids. And hidden hand was I believe, plus 15 to aim assist.
Hmm.
So hidden hand plus 15 to aim assist on steroids, plus range.
Yeah, it's a nutty perk. I think it's like maybe the best perk in the game, honestly, especially for like sweats and stuff like that. Like I on my Austrian area rock opening shot and Eye of the Storm together, so it's like
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's like you're almost guaranteed a headshot for your very first shot as long as your aim's kind of near their head, you know,
See,
Hmm.
this is
anywhere in
something.
the general vicinity.
This is something I
And
find
then
funny. Is
yeah,
like opening shot as a perk is very, very, very powerful. But it's also one of those perks that nobody is calling for it to be nerfed because everyone uses opening shot.
Yeah.
Like,
No
there's
one's like,
always
this is OP.
there's always stuff that creeps to the top, and then everyone's like, no, no, that's bad. But opening shot is just like that can stay exactly where it is, but everything else needs to go.
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's because it doesn't feel like oppressive like some of the other. I think on a sniper it starts to get a little bit OP, but
Yeah, I was gonna say,
for like
I don't know about that. I've used the Twilight Oath at opening shot, and it is not fair. I do not
yeah
have to aim at all. The gun does all the work for me.
yeah
That's what I love is when people come into my stream and they're like, "Hey man, I just got a Twilight Oath. What should I be looking for on it?" I'm just like, "Opening shot." Like, what
That's
else?
it.
No, opening shot.
That's it.
That is the end of that. Opening shot. And they're like, "Oh, I have like Outlaw Firefly." It's like, no, opening shot or Dragonfly, whatever. Like, no,
yeah.
dismantle it. Go for opening shot.
Yeah.
Because if you get a decent handling roll and then opening shot, it's like having quick draw opening shot. Because that
Yeah.
gun handles so fast already. It's so nice. And it's not fair at all. I mean, Twilight Oath as it stands is a really, really, really good sniper as it is. Not so good for dealing with supers. But, you know, in general, for just general sniper use, it's great. And it's definitely one of the top picks. But with opening shot, it's just elevated to a whole nother level.
Hmm. It's one of those perks that like you could make a god roll without it, like Beloved with Snapshot Quick Draw. You could be fine without it. But if you could get Snapshot or Quick Draw and Opening Shot, that would be the top choice.
Yeah,
Yeah. Actually, you
it's
know what?
super strong.
Um, so you said that you like to snipe, right?
I do like to snipe.
Do you prefer snapshot or quick draw on a sniper?
That's a good question. So I would say if I had to pick one of the two, I don't know. It's really tough. I'd probably, if I had to pick only one of them, I would go snapshot. Just
Interesting.
because it. But I don't. It's. I'm happy with either, honestly. Like they're both great.
Yeah.
And it sort of also depends, I think, on the other weapon I'm pairing with it. Like Last Word has like the slowest pullout time of any gun. It's so frustrating to me
Right.
because it's like this supposed to be this like cowboy gun where you like hip fire it and you we've all seen the movies with the cowboys like
Yeah.
quick drawing. It's like
Yeah.
why does this gun take so long to pull out? But anyway, it's like so that's of course then I want like the highest handling I can possibly get on my sniper because it just takes so long to pull the Last Word out. Anything I can get, I'll take it. But then I don't know. I'm the type of sniper where I don't tend to like pre-aim or not pre-aim. I don't tend to hard scope a whole lot. Like I tend to kind of run around the map and then see radar and anticipate where someone's head would be and then quickly zoom in right there.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of those kind of quick scopes and stuff like that. And so for me, just maximum ADS speed is really important.
I see. See, I'm a huge advocate for quick draw over snapshot. I don't know why, but it's always been the way ever since D1. Um, back when quick draw snapshot was the equivalent of mag perks, the good old days. And like
Yeah.
I had snipers
Hmm.
that would have both quick draw and snapshot, and everyone would be like, "Oh, how are you gonna choose?" It's like I'm not. I'm gonna use quick draw. There's no
Yeah.
choice to me. I don't know.
It's a tough call. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love quick draw. It's
Yeah,
quick draw is maybe my favorite sniper perk. It's just that,
it's not
um,
always the
it
best pick for how you play.
yeah, it just sort of depends on the combination. But and I was the same in D1. Actually, most of my favorite snipers were quick draw snipers, so I'm a
Yeah,
huge fan of it. I think one of the reasons in D2 that I haven't had as many is that there just really wasn't many snipers that could even roll quick draw. It was basically what Frigid Jackal. from prior to
If
year
we if we're
two.
talking just like even just in Forsaken is still just Frigid Jackal.
Yeah,
It
and
Velita
wasn't.
D.
Oh yeah, the leader. Wait,
yeah,
did that have
Valine
quick
does.
draw?
Yeah, I think
It
that one
did.
does as well.
Hmm.
But
It
now
was one of the
now
only two.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, because that was the energy option. Because I'm thinking back to like I was so stupid. I spent I think 7 or 8 hours on Mars trying to get everything done so I could finally get the Frigid Jackal. Only to realize it was in my collections the whole time. But I didn't really pay attention because when I was going through my collections, I was looking for the perk Quick Draw, but Frigid Jackal by default has Outlaw selected. So I
Hmm.
saw Outlaw and I was like, that ain't
uh,
it, and then I would just go across. I
interesting.
didn't really pay attention to the name of the gun. It was a very quick scan at the beginning of my stream. Um, and then someone was like, really, you don't have any of your collections at all? I was like, no, I don't. They were like, are you sure? I was like, all right, fine, I'll fucking prove it. Let's go. And then I opened up my collections. I was like, see, there's no free. Shut up. Just shut up.
What are you guys rocking on your beloved? Like, what's your beloved god roll?
Uh,
Quick draw, no, quick draw, mulligan. Mulligan quick draw is what I use on mine.
so I'm actually not a fan of Beloved. I don't quite like it.
Really? Why is
Um,
that?
my two favorite snipers right now are Twilight Oath. I have something like 800 kills with my Twilight Oath.
It has opening
Um,
shot.
it's opening shot, Dragonfly, with a pen and mag, arrowhead, and a handling masterwork. Super, super, super nice. That's what I got Revoker with, and then Revoker is actually slowly becoming my favorite sniper currently. But for Beloved, the one that I use the most is Full Bore Accurized Demolitionist and Quick Draw with the range masterwork, but it just doesn't feel right to me.
Interesting.
I'm
Yeah,
actually
my
very much the same way. I'm not the biggest fan of Beloved. I have a bunch. I also have a Demolitionist quick draw. I have the Snapshot quick draw roll. I have Mulligan quick draw. You'll notice a lot of quick draw being said because I like quick draw.
Because you like Quick Draw.
Yeah.
yeah, quick draw is hard to beat. Yeah, so Twilight Oath was also my favorite sniper for the longest time. I've like, I don't know, 2,000 something kills with it, I think, and I really do like it. Um, the reason that I started picking up Beloved and using that was number one, you could farm for many different roles to
Mm-hmm.
try, which is awesome. But then the other thing is that a lot of the tournaments ban 140s because they can double body. It's almost like a scout rifle, basically.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to start getting comfortable with a 90 because, like, to me, like the most important thing about sniping is just having one sniper you're super comfortable with because it's especially on PC. Every different like sniper has different kind of sensitivity because of the different zoom rates and stuff like that. And
Yep.
so it's all about muscle memory. So you need to just get really consistent with one sniper. So that's why I just made the decision to practice Beloved, and so that's kind of my main one these days. But I still do. I think that 140s are still the best snipers right now because of how fast you can shoot. It's just that since they're banned in scrims and tournaments and stuff, I figured it's kind of not really in my favor to practice with those anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it also depends on what rules you set forth. If you're going to be following those like very, very strict tournament rules, then yeah, you're gonna. I don't think 72 RPMs are available either because you can just pop down an empowering rift and just one-shot body certain resiliences too.
Yeah, I think that in the newest ones they re-allowed them. I'm not 100% sure about that. I know Revoker is banned, but that's for a different reason. That's because of it sort of escapes the whole ammo economy with how
Mm-hmm.
you can
Yeah.
shoot and miss, and because a lot of what happens in like the high level like private games and tournaments and stuff is that special ammo becomes a lot more important. You're trying to distribute it between your team based on the roles that people have. Like, if you have like one sniper, then you want to make sure that that sniper always has special ammo. So,
Yeah.
if you're rocking Revoker, you don't really need to worry so much about special ammo because if you miss, you get your bullet back. So it's sort of like breaks that whole economy system.
So that's one thing that was
Mm-hmm.
very, very different in D1 Sweats is the ammo economy. Because obviously back then it was like you were probably sticking with your team anyway. So then everyone would just go like within the radius of the green ammo box, pull it and be like, all right, great, and then one by one run by, grab their ammo, and then get back into the engagements without ever having to like leave yourself open to anything. But
Yeah.
in D2, it's like, and especially in D1, you would get like, what is it, like 6 ammo from that box, depending on what you were using. Like if you were using a sniper, you get like 6 bullets. But
Yeah, it's pretty
now,
generous.
now it's like, okay, we all 3 killed that guy. None of us have special ammo, and the one person who does, if they have double scav perks, they'll get 3 ammo.
Yeah. What do you think of the current scav system and how the special item economy works? Like, do you guys like it or dislike it right now?
I'm fine with it on a certain level. I like the idea of having perks that give us more ammo, but I don't think that you should be penalized in PvP because RNG hates you. Like for example, on my Warlock, I really wanted to run Arbalest yesterday. I don't know why, but I felt like running Arbalest, and I had to go through all of my armor sets looking for a scav perk, because if I didn't have one, then I wasn't going to use Arbalest, because I can't deal with only picking up 1 ammo per
It is,
brick.
yeah, it's brutal if you only have 0 or 1 scavenger perk. It's like,
Yeah, so it's
especially with
like,
a main thing like that.
as much as I want to use whatever weapons, if my scavenger perks don't allow it, that weapon's not being used.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually like the scav system a lot. I think it's like the best system because like Destiny 1, like at first they were so generous with the special ammo. It was like everyone had maybe a little bit too much, but then they like
Oh,
went the other
definitely.
way and made it so scarce that like it completely changed the meta to the whole sidearms and
Yeah.
and whatever. So that was kind of like, I don't know, I didn't like that at all.
And then
I'd much
D2
rather
came
have,
out and they just removed specials.
yeah. So I think it's actually like the current implementation's pretty good. My only small gripe with it is the way that, so like it's more of the gameplay loop that if you have a shotgun and you go kill someone and get their special ammo, you're already basically landing on top of them and picking it up.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're sniping, you have to snipe them with it or whatever, and then you have to go run and get the green. So it's like it just kind of is a, it's a little bit weird. I feel like maybe you should get just a little bit more because you have to go get it or something. But with that said, I'm not really that worried about the current system. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. So I think it works with PvP, and I've adjusted to it, and whenever I get armor now, it's the only thing I look for, is scavenger perks, because as everyone knows, the most important thing is destiny. So I want my character to look good, but at the same time, if I have like if I have, back in D1, I exclusively looked for, well, the best intellect, discipline, and strength rolls, so that I could get that tier 12. But beyond that, all I was looking for was good looking armor. But now I have my one set so that my character can look good when I load in, and then I have all this ugly armor with the perks that I want.
Yeah, it's funny.
So
I
I think,
actually I used the menagerie quite a bit recently to farm for like god roll armor because I wanted like enhanced hand cannon loader with like the different scavs on my gloves and like enhanced hand cannon targeting, which I've been trying to get enhanced hand cannon targeting helmet on my hunter for like literally since Forsaken came out. Like I've done this stuff like pretty much every week, and I finally got it from menagerie. It's like
nice.
just the RNG is so rough sometimes, but like I don't know. I think that the armor makes a huge difference. It's something people don't pay enough attention to.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, there's some YouTubers that I watch, and when they're like, this used to really bother me. Is, they'd be doing a review on like a special weapon, and when I say not serious reviews, like for example, Mr. Fruit, he's a good example of someone that does them. He kind of like just messes around with a gun, doesn't take it all too seriously. But it really bothered me whenever he was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna be talking about this sniper," and then I see him walk over a green brick, and it's like +1. It's like, no, stop it, stop it, stop! You can't do that. You need to do something about that, man. Come on, please. But I don't know. I kind of wish scavenger perks had more use in PvE, because as it stands right now, they don't. Like, if you don't get green ammo, you're not getting green ammo. It doesn't matter how many scav perks you have. So with or without scav perks, it's still entirely down to RNG whether or not you actually have ammo. That bothers me a little bit.
Yeah, it does make a huge difference, especially in PvP. It's like they can be a massive problem. It's interesting too, and you kind of run. There's the strategies you can run where you like everyone uses double primaries on your team, so you kind of like bleed the
Yeah,
ammo
you
or bleed the other team
starve
out
them.
of.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's just
used to do that a lot. I would run Jade Rabbit and Bad Reputation.
these
Essentially,
days with
how
Heroic.
I got my first ever Wii ran
Oh,
was with
nice.
a
Yeah.
Jade Rabbit and Bad Reputation, which is annoying because I've only ever had 2 Wii rans. I play too aggressively and not too smart. I play aggressive and dumb, which is a bad combination. So I get dead a lot. So I've only had 2 Wii rans. The first one was with Jade Rabbit and Bad Reputation. The second was with exclusively Vigilance Wing.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I
when I'm
tend to
using
get a
like,
lot more of the fight me medals than we rans because I like
yeah.
to. I'm also pretty aggressive. I like to try to get as much, as many kills and damage as I can in a game.
See, when it comes to like quick play, I don't know. I don't really care too much about um, kills and my KD too much, which is good because that would hurt my soul. Um, but I do most of the time if I'm playing a whole bunch of quick play, I'm probably streaming. So I don't want to play super conservative and just get high kill games. I would much rather just do something funny.
Yeah,
So
that
I
well,
get myself dead a lot.
that's what quick play is for. That's what makes me so frustrated now. Is like I know that Bungie claims there's no skill-based matchmaking in quick play or whatnot, but like I don't know the games that like. So me and most of my friends have the Unbroken title on PC, and there's just not that many people who have it. But for some reason, it seems like we're coming across other players who also have that in like nearly every game. And it's just like how is this statistically possible with how many
Yeah.
players there are? It's like, and it's like lately in quick play, it's like you have to sweat every game or else you're gonna get destroyed. And I'm coming across so many top players so consistently. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I wish that we could have it be a little bit more chill, and so we could afford to use more fun loadouts without
Yeah.
getting destroyed.
See, that's the thing is I'm a bad player, so I don't have to worry about that. Even if skill based matchmaking is in the game, I'm still fine. I'm gonna get wrecked either way.
Yeah, I
I
So
miss.
do have I do have one quick story. The first season that Unbroken was available, I think that was what, Joker's Wild? Uh, last season?
Would have
Because
been
you have to get
season 5, right? I think because you could get 3, 4, and 5. You could get legend on each one.
yeah, so it was Black Armory. And I loaded into a quick play match about halfway through the season. Of the 12 people, one person was not unbroken. Can you guess who that one person was?
was it you?
It was me.
Yeah.
And I was the only person without a not forgotten Dust Rock Blues. You know, it was a team of 5 and a team of 6, and I'm like, I don't belong here. I don't.
One of
This
these
is
things
not my
just doesn't
loadout.
belong here.
Safe to say, I got mollywopped
Yeah, I was
Oh
gonna
every
say
yeah.
how that
gunfight.
game go.
Yeah, yeah.
That was bad. I don't. We lost because I was
Really?
not pulling
That's
my.
crazy.
But I was
Yeah,
just. It
no.
was so funny to see that happen. I'm like, I don't. This is not the lobby that I should be in.
You
Yeah.
know what's interesting is I think before the changes to Magnificent Howl, I was more worried about Unbroken, like facing off against Unbroken because they would have Not Forgotten. But now I see an Unbroken, I'm like, they're probably better than me, but I bet I can kill them. And
Yeah.
so like, I don't have to worry about it too much. But before I'd be like, oh, he's Unbroken. I'm never gonna kill him because he would just outrange me all of the time with Not
Yeah.
Forgotten.
So I'm curious about this actually. How has the Not Forgotten and Luna changes impacted console PvP? Because I don't obviously play it too often, so I'm really curious because like on
Um,
PC, Not Forgotten went from like a pretty strong option to like almost no one uses it anymore. It's just like it's a very ordinary 150.
I still see a lot of Not Forgottens, but they don't really pose any sort of threat anymore. I'm yet to see a Luna's Howl this season.
I've seen a couple Lunas, usually in quick play. In comp, we'd see the Not Forgottens every now and again, because it's still a very dominant 150. just because of
Yeah.
its recoil on console. But it's a lot less dominant. Like you could still use an off-stringer, a last word, thorn, ace of spades, and still do fine. Whereas before, if you didn't use one of the Mag Howl twins, you were punished.
Also, I think
Okay.
it's hilarious that people now are like, "Oh, well, Magnificent Howl is nerfed, so it can still 3-tap just a bit slower. So therefore, bad question mark because it's like I don't know. I used Luna's Howl before the nerf, and I've used it after, and it doesn't feel that different. Like, yeah, it has a slightly longer TTK, but it's not that big a deal. If you're hitting your shots, it's still a good option. It's still a good gun. But
Mhm.
people are just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's not a 180 that can 3-tap anymore. I was like, yeah, but it's still a
I
really
just miss
consistent 150 that can do it.
I just miss the ability to two tap like the second guy. Like that was my favorite thing with Not Forgotten was you three tap one guy and then two tap like two more guys in a row. It's just like it felt so good. But I understand that it's like, it's annoying to play against that. But it
Yeah,
was so fun to do it.
And I think that I've had Luna's Howl since Forsaken, grinded that out real hard,
yeah, screw you.
and and I can count on one hand the amount of times that I've two tapped someone since Forsaken. So I don't. It was a problem, but I don't think it was a console problem as much as it was a PC problem.
Yeah, well, that's what's funny is like most of the people that I'm friends with who are, pretty prominent in like the PC community, like they never really thought that Not Forgotten was like that big of a problem on PC because really like Ace for 90, I would say like 98, 99% of the population, Ace was always the better gun. It was just so
Mm-hmm.
much more consistent, better range, more forgiving. You get memento, and it was just so good in team fights. Not Forgotten is like literally only better for the absolute top aimers who just don't miss. They're like actual like human aimbots because
Yeah.
as soon as you miss one bullet with it, you would have been better with Ace.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one of the key differences between PC and console is that on PC, like you said, Ace of Spades is definitely way up there as not only one of the best exotic picks, but just the best guns. Period. Taking specials into account, because I've seen some clips of people with Ace of Spades on PC, like even post nerf,
Yeah, it's
where it's
disgusting.
still really good. But on console, I use it and I feel like I'm slapping people with a wet haddock. I don't like it at all.
That's what I've heard. That's funny. I've kind of stopped using it myself just because I'm so tired of it. Like I used it so much in the seasons 4 and 5 and 6.
Yeah.
So I'm these days I've been kind of into like the new ones like Austringer is really fun. I finally got a good spare ration, so I've been using that a lot. And then lately I've been picking up Thorn, just trying to practice with it because it didn't honestly feel like good right away for me, but I've kind of been like getting the hang of it, and now it's starting to feel really fun.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it just takes a little bit.
See,
Yeah, it's something about the reticle is kind of weird to me, and it's like I think it's because it's not the red dot, it's like the it's the kind of fancy one. So
It's like
I
a
feel like I
line.
lose. Yeah, it's like it looks cool. It's just that don't I don't know, for some reason my brain has trouble like placing it on people in the same way that I can with like an off stringer or something
yeah,
like
no,
that.
I actually understand that because that was my biggest issue with Twilight Oath initially. Because back when I first started like picking up sniping again, I was like, oh, I could use Twilight Oath, and everyone was telling me like, oh, Twilight Oath's great. It has all these great stats, and it has everything going for it. And I used it, and I was like, nope, I'm not. No, I'm not using that site. I'm not doing that. I'm not using that site.
Yeah.
And then I
It's
realized that there really
amazing how
wasn't a
much.
true red dot on any of the snipers. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll use this site, whatever, man.
Yeah, it's amazing how much the little aiming reticle makes a difference. Like for example, like I've never been very good with the snipers with the chevron sights, but some friends I have just swear by them, and that's like their favorite snipers are
Yeah.
that style, like the multi-tool looking sight. And so I don't know. I think it's just what you get used to, and some of them feel good, and some of them don't feel good depending on what you're used
Yeah.
to.
And we
Mm-hmm.
were talking about this a little bit yesterday when you were streaming, specifically about the last word. I can only use the last word with the ornament. You cannot.
Yeah, you're totally right about it. It's funny. I mean, I can use it either way, but I feel like the with the ornament, like it just feels so different to me. And I spent like thousands of hours with the last word on D1, and then I've used it quite a bit in D2 now. And so I'm just used to like how it looks. And when I put the ornament on, I like how it looks, but it feels different to me. So
Yeah.
I feel like my shot's not quite as crispy.
See, it's possible that I'm kind of like in a weird camp because back in D1, I was kind of a hipster. Like if everyone was like, "Oh, Last Word sucks," because like whenever Taken King came out and all hand cannons were just awful for a while. I was one of the people that was like, "Fine, I'm gonna use the Last Word in PvP and I'm gonna make it work." So my memories of the Last Word were not of a good Last Word. It was a bad gun at the time. It was not a good
Mhm.
pick at all. So getting used to that version of the gun really didn't help me at all when it came forward into D2.
Yeah. So speaking of D1, what exotics specifically from like a PvP standpoint would you guys be interested in seeing come back to D2 that haven't been added to the game yet?
Okay, well
Bone Surveyor.
I have an expansion on that question, like for top tier competitive gameplay or for just the memes.
I would say both, and both guns and armor. You could maybe pick a couple from different
Twilight Garrison.
categories. Yeah, that's a fun one.
I wasn't a Titan main, but Twilight Garrison, gimme. Actually, a Fate Symbiote because I would love to have 4 shots on bottom Goldie.
Oh yeah, interesting.
But for weapons, Drake's Promise, I'd like to see that make its return because now that 3 burst sidearms are actually in the game and they kind of work, I would like to see Drake's Promise do its thing.
Yeah.
But they would need to really something about it because all Drake's Promise did that was special was what me and my friends called the sandstorm rounds because every time you fired it, it looked like there was a little rave going on because of the guaranteed ricochets. It's kind of like hard light the sidearm.
Yeah, it's super fun. I'm really wanting No Lands Beyond to come
Oh
back.
yeah, no, me too.
I really enjoyed it on console, but like I feel like especially on PC on D2, like that gun would be so fun to use. I feel like I would use that all the time.
Here's the thing. One of the biggest arguments I hear for it is like, well, why bother? You can already have snipers in the kinetic, and it's like, okay, first of all, shut your face. It's not a sniper rifle. It's a piece of art. Because this was gonna say is like for a competitive option, I would love to see No Land return. Because my go-to loadout for most of House of Wolves, back when No Land was terrible. Again, very much a Destiny hipster. If something was bad, I used it. So just so I could be like, I don't use the meta. And one of those things was fusion rifles, which were getting nerfed every couple weeks, even though nobody was using them. And No Land Beyond, because it was the one gun that when people got it, they were like, fuck. Whereas even like
Yeah.
some of the other bad exotics, they were like, it's whatever. But they would get like physically angry when they would get the No Land Beyond. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get good with it.
Were you a
So
Pocket
I would,
Infinity fan from D1?
I didn't get Pocket Infinity until it was too late.
Oh, I gotcha. That was
Yeah.
actually the very first Iron Banner in D1. I was I had just gotten that gun and it was just so unfair. Like I felt like I was cheating with it. Like I was
Right.
dropping like 40, 50 kills every game. It was so broken at the time, but it was a blast to use.
See, another fusion rifle that for whatever reason, people were like, "Oh yeah, it's a good option." But whenever I got around to using it, I was like, "Wow, this is stupid powerful." And I would like to see it return. Is Plan C?
Yeah, that's a fun one too.
Plan C, yeah, it was a really, really, really good like shotgun counter option.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess with stuff like Oriental kind of dominating fusion rifles right now, I don't know, it would be a little bit out of place.
Well, they sort of have that thing with backup plan, right? With that perk.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
kind of the same idea.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty much everything that made Plan C special, and they're just like it could be on anything. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, but what I was gonna say is so people keep saying to me like, "No Land Beyond coming back is pointless because we already have kinetic snipers," and I was like, "No, because here's what you could do to bring it into D2, and it would be unique, but it would still be nice for us snipers out there." because like look at Fighting Lion, right? The thing that makes it very interesting, well, one of the things that makes it very interesting is the ammo economy, like we were talking about earlier. You know, if you want to starve out the enemy team for special ammo in comp, have a special weapon that runs on primary ammo. But Stallion, how do you balance it? So glad you asked. Um, so with the No Land Beyond, you would drop its mag from 6 to 3, first of all, because no snipers have a 6 mag now. Well, some do, but only the fast firing ones, which is bad news bears. Ensure that there's absolutely no way to do the reload glitch anymore, so there's actually a punishment for using it. Like, if you miss your shot, you've missed your shot. Try again next time, bud, because you're probably dead. And back in D1, when I used to use No Land Beyond all the time, I wouldn't use the reload bug, specifically because I wanted to get better, and that was the only way I could figure out a way to do so. Was just like, or reload glitch, not reload bug.
Can you imagine No Land and Recluse together? That would be pretty disgusting
that would
combination.
be so good. But yeah, so you make it run off of primary ammo. You give it only 3 shots. You make sure there's no way to exploit the reload thing. So if you get 1 shot, you fire that shot. If you miss that shot, you deserve to die. Not IRL. Let's make that clear. But in game, you deserve to take that loss because you missed your shots. It's down to player skill, not the gun being too powerful. I think that's how we could balance it running off of primary ammo. And it's the same thing. I know a few people that want universal remote back, and it's like, okay, so bring it back, make it run off of primary ammo. That's what makes it special. That's what keeps it exotic and relevant. But you only get 1 shot in the mag. You have to reload after every single shot because it runs off of primary. Do you still think you could make that work? And if they're like, yeah, great, go for it. But the general population is still going to use normal shotguns. So it's not like it doesn't become overpowered. It doesn't become dominant like it did in D1.
That'd be interesting. What do you guys think about bringing Hawkmoon back? Are you on the are you a fan of that or not?
No. I loved Hawkmoon, but I loved Hawkmoon at the time that Luck in the Chamber was a thing. So it was just a Luck in the Chamber hand cannon, but better, which is why I liked it. But as it stands right now, Luck in the Chamber is not a thing. So if it existed, if you get RNG 2 taps, I don't think it would work in the current sandbox.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Like I would love to use it again for like quick play and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For comp, it's I don't know. I'm not obviously like I'm kind of more on the wanting things to be competitive side of the community. So that's RNG is usually not good for that. And then of course for scrims and stuff, they'd probably just ban it. But
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it would be fun though. I really enjoyed it in D1. Yeah, I played on Xbox. So I didn't. I played a little bit of PS4, but I never got the fabled one tap to happen.
Yeah, me neither.
So.
I also played on Xbox. I didn't move to PS4 until too late.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same with me.
I moved to PS4, and my first exotic was the Hawkmoon. I was like, "Oh yes! Oh no!" Because I forgot that I couldn't one tap anymore.
Yeah.
It was still a fun gun though, and I loved it. I love the gun model so much. It
was
was such
beautiful.
a pretty gun.
Yeah.
And it had the black and gold ornament, where it was like all black except the feathers were gold. Oh, it was so nice. Yeah. So nice.
So good looking. Yeah. It sounded great too. It had an awesome sound.
Yeah, it did. It felt really powerful.
It
was so good.
Absolutely.
And one of my favorite things to do would be to run around using Hawkmoon and Golden Gun specifically, so I could run Knife Juggler, so that you could just like shoot someone in the head once, throw your throwing knife, and just constantly do that running around.
Yeah. I wish they would buff throwing knives. I'm so like, and I don't understand why shoulder charges can one hit, and then you have throwing knives that are like, especially on PC, throwing knives are so hard to land with. Like the explosive thing is one thing, but to land the actual like bottom tree knife, cleanly is like so hard to do with like because there's basically very little aim assist on PC with it with mouse and keyboard. So like you have to be so precise, and then when you do it, it feels like it does no damage, and it's like a waste of a ability. Sad.
Yeah, sure.
They're so fun.
Could we get back sticky trip mines, please? I want to stick to my trip mines.
Yeah, unicorning people.
Yeah.
That was another fun thing.
And I could just see it now. People out there, you know, like I don't know, like Cammy Cakes, just like throwing trip mines at people's faces and then shooting them at the point of impact. So like the grenade explodes just for style points because he's got a headshot anyway.
Yeah.
Just it'd be so good, but no. Oh, hunters don't get good grenades. Well, we get some good grenades, but I would say that probably Titans win with grenades.
Yes. I don't know. Suppression grenades are hard to beat. Those are pretty
Yeah,
strong.
and the flashbangs are pretty fun, and then you know lightning grenades, which are just good trip mines.
Mm-hmm.
And then what are they called? The thermite grenades. They're so
Those are
powerful.
so annoying. I hate those grenades.
Titans definitely win with grenades, and they
feel
win
like
with
I feel like
super,
it
just based
pulses.
purely based on bottom tree striker. So
Yeah.
screw you,
I feel like
Titans.
the thermites just pulse like one or too many times. Like it feels like it lasts an eternity. Like I'm okay with like the initial damage and like the first couple pulses, but I feel like it just lasts so long. It's like I remember literally yesterday when I think about streaming, I was helping some people with comp and like it was Meltdown I think was the map, and I was just waiting to challenge B because they were capping it, but the thing kept pulsing and pulsing and pulsing, so I just couldn't peak the angles. Like this is
What do you
gonna
think
last
would
all day.
be a good change to them?
I
To
just
like,
would like to see maybe one pulse removed towards the end of it, like shorten
yeah.
the duration a little bit.
See,
I think
I'd
that
I'd been
change.
thinking about this because a similar thing happened to me yesterday while I was streaming. It was in quick play though, so I just pushed anyway and took the burn. Um, but like someone threw the thermite grenade at the doorway, and I was like, okay, I have one of two options here. I can move out of its radius, sit back, wait for it to deplete, and then push. At which point they're already moved. They already know I'm coming. They know everything that's going on. Or I could just push through it, and it's quick play, so I'm gonna die. So fuck it. So I went with the second one.
Option
But
two.
like in comp and stuff like that, it's like, well, I guess I'm gonna wait for this to burn out and then reposition. But I think a good
Yeah,
way to balance it is like either, like you said, remove one or two pulses, or make it so that each pulse does less damage,
that's
like
the
the
other
grenade
thing
is
too. It's
burning
like
out.
that's the problem. Is it's like let's see, like the void wall grenade, for example. You can like peek into it for just one shot and then peek right back out because it doesn't really hurt you that much until you're standing in it for a while.
Yeah,
But like the thermite ones, it's like each pulse hits you so hard. It's like you can't get hit by it because you're gonna be one shot right
yeah.
afterwards.
So I'd like to see it if it was like, oh, initial pulse 60, and then the next one 50, next one 40, you know, go down as the
Yeah,
pulses go out. So that the last couple pulses, you can take that risk. Like, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of damage, but I can peak earlier than if I wait for it to burn out. Something like
yeah, I
that.
think that would be a good
I think
change
that'd be
too.
interesting. If for nothing else, then just see whether or not people switch to incendiary grenades.
Yeah, those are not too common right now.
I use them on my Goldie, but that's just because I
They're
don't like
fun.
swarm grenades. Yeah, they are
Yeah,
fun. And they're good practice for when I do play my Titan and go suppressor.
yeah,
They act.
absolutely. A good Titan suppressor grenade, like someone who's actually good at, tossing them accurately, is so frustrating. Like it's one of the most frustrating things in the game to play against a
Definitely.
really good one.
Actually, I have a friend who's really good with suppressors, and like there were times we were playing and someone popped a Sentinel shield and someone else popped a Dawnblade at the same time, and I was like, okay, I'm running away, and he was like, no, don't, just wait. I was like, why would I do that? He went, just wait. And they both came through two separate doors. He threw down his grenade and like suppressed them both. And I was just like, huh. All right, I'm gonna believe in you more often. Holy shit, that's great.
Yeah, it's magic. I have a teammate that I play with a lot in comp, and he was so good with the suppressors. It's like he'd have a nearly 100% accuracy in terms of shutting down supers when they
Yeah.
pop around the corner. It was so fun to play with someone like that.
And the thing is, like, as someone in their super, there's always a moment of terror when you're like, haha, I'm gonna kill this Titan, and then you see them throw out this Pokeball, and it's like, oh no, no, I need to turn around quickly, please.
Yeah. That's funny.
So it's just Titans are
So you
scary,
think we
man.
should I think we should wrap up.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
yeah, probably. We're going on an hour and 25 minutes now.
It's been
Just
fun.
speaking of pure PvP, which is good.
So,
It's
Patty,
refreshing.
where can we find you?
So the two main things are on Twitch. I'm twitch.tv/PattyCakesPC, and then YouTube is youtube.com/PattyCakesGaming. I also have a Twitter that I'm fairly active on, which is PattyCakesTTV on Twitter.
Ah,
Okay.
fellow TTV.
Yeah, the Patty Cakes is taken, of course.
Yeah,
So,
so was Stallion. Mad about it.
yeah, I'm trying to get Patty Cakes on all the platforms at some point, but it's a fairly popular name, so
Yeah,
might take a
I,
while.
I believe in you.
Thank you.
Stallion, where can we find you?
You can find me as always on YouTube, Stallion the Third. Don't go there; it's bad videos. Twitch.tv/Stallion and on Twitter at StarStallionTTV.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Panda,
You can.
can you get your Twitter right this time?
My Twitter is at panda_packs.
Probably.
Probably, maybe. I think I've written down somewhere. Not gonna check. You can also find me at r/try2keepit, both the Discord and the subreddit. I'm active there pretty much throughout the day, into the night hours where I probably should be sleeping. What is sleep? Um,
Who knows?
thank you, Patty, for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Do you have
inviting me.
any?
It's
Do you
been
have any
really fun.
closing thoughts?
Oh man, let's see. I would say definitely. We talked about scrims a little bit. I would say try it out with your friends first. If you have a couple people to play with, they're a really fun way to play the game. Kind of try out some different stuff, and it takes some of the pressure off of winning because it's just for fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise just enjoy the Crucible. Hopefully, Bungie keeps making improvements. Or I think we're all excited for September, see what they come out with.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, if anyone is interested in scrims and you happen to be on PS4 and you're like, oh man, if only I could find a server with less than 30 people, I'm sure there'll be a link down below to the server that me and Panda run, which is the PS4 scrim server.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
I guess the one other thing I would say too is if people on PC are trying to get help with competitive, that's like the main thing that I do on my streams. So always happy to help people out. That's my favorite thing to do right now. So
Yeah.
just stop by and say hi.
Yep, and his stream link will be in the description below if I remember. Probably.
You better remember.
I'll do my best.
Yeah.
I'll do my best.
Oh, actually, there
Thank
was one last thing. So I had a plan earlier where I was gonna ask you some questions, and then I was gonna come out of fucking nowhere with just a really weird personal question. But we never got around to it because we got distracted by PvP. I blame Panda. So just quickly, what's your guilty pleasure song, and why is it Taylor Swift?
I actually do like Taylor Swift. So I've been playing guitar for like a long, long time. So I'm into all kinds of different music. Man, what's my guilty pleasure song? I don't know if I really have one. I like